Crackout was a smash hit arcade game that rivaled the likes of Space Invaders back in the day. It found a renewed energy once it was released for home consoles, especially the Atari 2600. So, like with any popular game, there's bound to be clones. And boy, is there a few of this one, including today's game. Crackout, released in 1991 on the Nintendo Entertainment System by Konami. Yeah, Konami did other stuff other than just awesome action games. Now, will this one break out from a sea of clones? Or will it remain a Konami crappy curio? We'll pop it in and find out. Okay, so I'm going to play with the formula a little bit here, and you'll see why soon. Now, for a Konami game, the visuals are very basic, and honestly, they're almost sterile. Very poor for 1991 standards. Blocks and balls look good though. Now, this is possibly the worst music in any Konami game, at least that I've ever played. I mean, just take a listen to this. It's no Wicked Child. Do better, Konami. Now, with that out of the way, I'm going to be playing a collection of my favourite Konami tracks for the rest of the video. Hope you enjoy. So this one was never released in the US. It was first released on the Famicom Disk System, and a few years later, in Europe and Australia. The Famicom Disk System is a floppy disk peripheral, only released in Japan. There was about 200 or so games released for it. Think of it as like an expansion pack of sorts. It has a little more memory, so you can fit in some additional features, better sound, that kind of thing. The central computer at the nerve centre of Planet Salim has been infiltrated, and its self-destruct system activated. The only way to stop the process is to reach the internal keyboard and enter the correct 14-letter password. Each of these letters is hidden in the walls along the way. Your weapon of choice in this game is a Super Ball. Just like Breakout, the object of this game is to clear the levels by destroying all the bricks. But a small difference is that Crackout also has enemies on screen, and they can be hit by the ball to gain power-ups. These can include a parachute to slow the ball's speed down, multiple balls, a sticky ball, and a rocket, to name a few. The game consists of 4 zones, which have 11 levels each. There are also level warps, in the form of Konami Man, and he will fly across the screen at a brisk speed. Now, to the uninitiated such as myself, Konami Man is an obscure superhero that serves as Konami's somewhat hidden mascot character, mostly first appearing as Easter eggs and secret bonus items in some early Konami games. Eventually, he got his own game, but of course only in Japan. Each couple of levels will have a boss at the end of it, and in some very useful programming, as you keep damaging him, his colour will change, indicating on how close he is to defeat. The colour will go from green to blue to pink. And as his colours change, so does his speed, so keep that in mind. Now, as mentioned in the storyline, there's also hidden letters scattered throughout the game. They make up a password. That, unfortunately, you need to know this password to finish the game. Now, for anyone who cares, I'll put the password in the description to avoid spoiling. So, this game has a major win for me, and it's what I wish every single NES game had. Unlimited continue. There is nothing more demotivating than spending a few hours, reaching a level, grinding possibly, and then dying, and having to start all the way from the beginning. A pain I'm sure we all know too well. So believe it or not, there was a brief period in my life when I wasn't collecting physical retro games. Yeah, there was. And this cart happened to be the first one I picked up after that somewhat brief hiatus. I got it at Cash Converters, of course. Where else? From what I can remember, I think it was around $10. So I never had this one as a kid, but to be honest, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I may not have played anything else. I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but this game is super addictive. So on pricing, being a PAL-only release, I'm kind of surprised that it's not a little more expensive. You can snatch a cart for around $25 and complete and go through about 40 from what I've seen. So if you're looking for a PAL exclusive for your collection, this is a good one to add. So that was Crackout. It sure was. So that was Crackout. Crackout, Breakout, the naming conventions are pretty lazy. But for all the shortcuts this game takes, the few things that it does right, it does very right. So you've got the unlimited continues, you've got very high replayability, and possibly the craziest, just wildest cover art in my collection. Yeah. So with that, this one will be cracking out of Breakout's shadow and landing on a place on my shelf. So, in retrospect, there are no bad games, but there is badass music. And as we've heard from this episode, Konami has that in spades. See you later. First row done already.